Well, welcome back to this episode of the layout build phase 4. Phase 4? Wait a minute. I did a video called phase 1, did another one that was phase 2. Why would this be phase 4? What happened to phase 3? Well, phase 3 is still in progress, and that's laying of the track. And laying the track, you want to do it right, and you want to do it right the first time. You want your track to be nice and smooth, so it's taking Chuck some time to get the track all laid. In the meantime, phase 4 here, which is going to be building the control panels for his layout. So let's head out to the workshop and get started on this project.
In these first few photos, these are computer-generated images that I created using a 3D solid modeling program to show what each of the 3 control panels will look like once they are completed. It was decided that these control panels would be made from oak lumber. So here in these photos you're seeing where I've taken the planks of wood and I've rough cut them down to size. And I did have one piece that I had to glue onto a thin strip, had to be added to one of the pieces for the largest control panel. Here what you're seeing is the type of joint that I will be using at each of the corners on all of the control panels. This is what is known as a mitered rabbet joint. This makes it very strong and helps keep everything nice, straight, and square. Here what you're seeing is I'm test fitting each of the pieces together to make sure that I have all of the sizes of all of the pieces are all going to fit together just the way I want them in the end. In this view, you can see that I've cut a 3/8 wide groove at the bottom of each of the 4 pieces for each panel. I've also created some corner blocks that fit into those grooves to help add some stability and strength to each of the corners. Well, it's finally time for the first glue up of the entire project. Here you see the very first control panel being glued together and waiting for the glue to dry. And this is going to take some time as I have 2 other panels that I need to do before I can even move further forward. Well, there's the 3 panels, at least the base part of each of the panels, all glued together, waiting for some finished machining and sanding to be done. But now I can move forward to the lid part of each of these panels and get those made up as well. Here we see the first glue up of one of the lid portions of the control panels. I have 3 of these to make up, 1 for each panel. So this is going to take a little bit of time as well. Now that I have each of the lid portions of each panel created, it's time now to start fitting the pieces together and doing some finished machining and getting them prepared to have the hinges installed. Oh, look, it hinges. It's finally time to do some finished machining and sanding. I used a router bit and rounded over all of the corners of all of the pieces, and I also added a rabbited recess to accept the 1/4-inch Lexan that will be installed into the lids to mount all of our controls. Well, we're nearing the finish line now. It's time to get the stain applied, and I believe that with the oak lumber and the dark walnut stain that was used, these pieces came out looking pretty doggone nice. The added luster with the color of everything, once I applied the clear finish, really gives this a very elegant look, and the customer is very, very happy with the results. Here I have cut the Lexan to size for each of the panels and rounded each of the corners to fit into the rabbited recess on each of the lids in preparation for the next step, which will take place in part 2 of this video.
Well, I hope you've liked this episode so far and enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to see more, stay tuned for part 2, which will show the construction of the Lexan, laying out of the track diagram on the Lexan, doing the painting, mounting the controls, and doing the wiring. So come back and see me again. Hit that like button and definitely, ring that bell and so forth to get any notices of future videos. See you all later, and happy railroading.